Hello and welcome back to another episode of Mystery Red Reads. I'm your host, Mystery Red, and this is my disclaimer. This beta read in concrete is at the author's request. This video is for learning purposes. Today we're looking at a piece of original fiction. We are looking at chapter 13 of for Ladybugs88, and I'm laughing because we have changed our title, and right now we are using the working title Recurring, and I've also read Remains for Ladybugs. So if you are listening to Ladybug's story, this one is formerly known as the Lake of Haunted Memories. So I think I'll probably put that in the description. I'll just note the title change so that if someone was looking to listen to all of the Lake of Haunted Memories videos so they could hear the rest of the story or hear the beta read and crit part, they'll be able to still find that. I do have a playlist for Ladybug, and I'll probably link the chapter 12 while it was still under Lake of Haunted Memories into the recurring as we've switched titles. I'm trying to decide. I might still call it Lake of Haunted Memories for the video so that viewers could find it quickly, and then note the change in this, maybe just a reminder that the title has changed when I start the video. I might do that. Okay, just to keep it really simple so people who are following along with a specific story can still find it easily. So I'm making this up as we go along because I don't edit my videos and the channel is still very new, and this beta reading process or this version of beta reading that I'm trying out, this experiment that we're on together, is new. And so we're kind of making the rules up as we go. It's evolving and we're on this journey together. So all that said, we are going to dive in here, and we are looking at chapter 13 of what is formerly Lake of Haunted Memories, now working title Recurring. We are with Ruth. So we have switched points of view consistently back and forth between Ruth, Barb, and I believe Harold. Okay, so that's 3 characters' point of view. It is one more than what you typically see when you pick up a book. So I know that is something that Ladybug is getting some feedback on. I anticipated that because whenever we switch points of view, people get in an uproar. We have some people who are dead set against it, and then some people are, you don't do it with more than 2 characters, and it's one of those things that people can be diehard sticklers for. I'm going through it myself, where in the manuscript I've written, I had consistently been with basically one character's point of view up until I think I switched to the character's aunt for a chapter, so that I was trying to show her perspective of what she was observing of her niece. Okay, how she saw what her niece was going through and what her niece was doing. And so I was trying to show what it looked like to someone else, but it was not perceived that way in a beta read. And then at the very end of the story, I actually had 2 different characters that were added in there. So I had the primary character, and then I had the aunt again, and then I also had a 3rd character that was causing a problem in the story, and it showed how she saw the main character. So basically I was trying to show what 2 other women, and from their perspectives and from their experience, how they viewed how this character was acting, behaving, what they were going through, where they'd been, how far they'd come, and it was not received the way I intended. And so now I've had to take out those characters, and I've even further decided to add an entirely different character's point of view consistently throughout the entire novel. So I am on a major revamp myself, and I'm not suggesting that Ladybug do that at this point, but I do want to address the sort of what I know I'm not going to call it an elephant in the room. We're going to call it the point of view stigma. We're going to give it a name. We're going to acknowledge it. I have suspected this might be an issue for Ladybug. They're starting to get the feedback I kind of anticipated, and I know why. However, all that said, we're acknowledging it, okay? All that said, I am following along this story just fine. I do not feel ungrounded. I do not feel unfamiliar with the characters. I can see the purpose of the characters and how they're used. Each chapter is completely with one character. We don't switch point of view mid-chapter, okay? And Ladybug's chapters tend to be short and concise. She gets in there and she gets to you what you need to know and how it moves the story forward and what she wants you to know, and then you're done, okay? So you're not looking at a chapter of, I don't know, 10 pages, okay, of thousands and thousands and thousands of words and page and page and page, where you're really in with this chapter with this character for a really long time. It's not like that. And so then all of a sudden you would feel jarred switching to this other character. I am quickly able to move from character to character once she established the pattern of 1, 2, 3. Okay. And I don't even know how often we're going to hear from Harold. And mostly it seems Barb and Ruth. And they're two very different characters with two very different points of view. And I appreciate the contrast between the two of them and the two different motivations, you know, and Barb is kind of the antagonist in this and to some degree. She's not a horrible, terrible, bad villain, but she has put them in a situation. Okay. So it's working okay for me, but I got to tell you, I needed a little disclaimer out there that I am very flexible when it comes to a point of view switch, as long as it is done with a smooth transition and done well. And I'm going to add on to that when I do a point of view switch, because I do have lots of writing with point of view switches, but when I do it, it has to be for a reason. And it has to contribute to the story, and it has to be something that I did. Like I said, it has to have a reason, okay? But it also depends on what type of writing I'm doing, okay? In my fan fiction writing, when I'm writing for the joy and love of the story and the practice of writing and engaging with friends, I'm in a round robin with the two ladies that I speak so highly of, okay? And those are point of view switches a lot of the time. Sometimes they transition and pick up with the character, whoever's point of view. Like I'm writing for certain characters, they're writing for certain characters, and we pass the story around to each of us. Sometimes it's a continuation of a scene, and sometimes it is us writing different scenes and taking the story off in different directions and then bringing it back together, you know, and joining up. It's a lot of work. And it is in those stories that I have published on AO3 are not widely read. Now, out of all my works, they're not the most widely read. Am I proud of them? Heck yeah. Am I really super proud of the overall story arc? It's a saga. It's like a 3-part journey. I'm in love with that story. I read it at least once a year just for the joy of it, because I love the story. I love the journey. I love the characters. But it's not something that I wrote or was part of the writing process of for publishing professionally in books that are going to be on a shelf, okay? Could it be translated into something like that? Possibly. I know that that's very shunned. You know, there's a lot of on that. But at the same time, and will it be? Probably no, because, you know, we're all busy people and we wrote this for fun, okay? And for the practice of writing and enjoying it. And the round robin method kind of lends itself to when you don't have time to write, but you love writing and you need to write and it feels good and makes you happy, okay? So it's okay. It's still okay to do that, all right? That is fine. And there's acceptable terms and acceptable errors, and you know, it's not perfect writing. It's writing, but the motivation for it is different. When you are writing for publishing, you want the cleanest, most concise, beautiful freaking manuscript you could possibly come out with that is industry standard accepted and ready to go. That said, I'm also that girl who likes to like, if I want something badly enough, what is the thing that I'm not willing to compromise in my story? Okay. If the point of view is something you're not willing to compromise, then don't. You got to be ready for the feedback you're going to get on that. But if that's a decision you have made and you're going to stand by it, do that. Just be ready for it. Some people will pass on it for that reason alone. It is like that out there. Okay. I just want to be really clear on when we use point of view switches, how we use point of view switches, and how my personal view is of point of view switches. I have switches that go, yes, from paragraph to paragraph. Okay. But those are my round robins. All right. That is not for professional writing. That's for literally love and practice of writing and enjoying sharing a story with friends. And then I have real stories that I've written that I don't usually have too many, or I'll have them separated, just like Ladybug is doing here, between two characters. Sometimes I'll throw in a third or fourth character, but in the fandom I write in, it's acceptable, and that I have labeled it kind of the same way that Ladybug has. You know who you're with when you're going in, okay? You know. And so you start to get to know that character, and then you know what to expect from them, and it's in their voice when you're reading it, okay? And I have seen plenty of published books with two different characters' point of view. It's typically two passed back and forth. If the third character has a small part, like Harold seems like he has a small part at strategic places, it's working for me. I don't know if it's going to work for a publisher. It works for me, okay? And I'm fine with it. But keep in mind, I'm flexible that way. Some betas and some publishers and agents are not. And that's just how it is. That is their personal preference. The way I told you to set a boundary to what you wanted, they have a boundary to what they want and what they expect. Okay? That is enough of that rant. We are going to get in here. Chapter 13, Ruth. Feeling the need to redeem herself for not having come out of the pickup sooner, Ruth gestured toward the tire weighing down Carl's hands. Can I help you carry that? That would be great. Ruth grabbed one edge while Carl continued to hold the opposite side, and together they carried it through the grass to the front of the pickup. They deposited it beside the blown-out tires still attached to the vehicle. It'd be nice if we could trim some of the grass around the tire before changing it, Ruth thought aloud. She couldn't imagine having to stick her hands into the grass. Okay, so we've got grass twice in a short proximity. Right now, I'm just going to observe it with just a quick highlight so that we can keep going and just keep an eye out for, is it going to pop up again? And could there be another word that we intermix with there? We talked about this in the prior two chapters. So right now, I'm just going to highlight it. You already know where I stand with it. You kind of know what to do with it. Right now, we're just going to highlight it so that we can see how many times it comes up, and then we can decide if we need to address it, okay? So right now, we're just observing that it happened twice in close proximity. We're going to keep going. She couldn't imagine having to stick her hands into the grass. No kidding, Carl said. Does anyone have a knife or something with a blade? Ruth found a black pouch on the crumpled hood and checked inside, but it held only tools like the jack and the tire irons. None of those could help with the grass. You could probably just say none of those would help, and that would work just fine. It does cut a few words, but take it, leave it, do what you will. I'm not even going to type that one up as a note, but I mean, you could, and it would resolve it. And I would still know the context because it's mentioned up here. She turned toward the trees and tried to approach them, but couldn't, as if an invisible electric fence prevented her. What was it about those trees that bothered her so much? Ruth was about to ask what everyone else thought of them when Anna let out a wail. Ruth turned. Oh my goodness, I can't. What happened to Anna? Uh-oh, I gotta hurry. Okay. Pale and wide-eyed, Anna raised her hands, palms outward. Blood covered them both and trickled down into the cuffs of her fleece jacket, tinging their blue color with spots of violet. With her face contorted in a mask of pain, Anna said, I was trying to pluck the grass, but it cut me. I was going to trim it, Barb moved in closer. I've got a pocket knife in my backpack. Why didn't you say so, Anna said, her voice thick and nasal. Tss. Barb shook her head. I was going to. I have a first aid kit in the truck, Carl said. Let me go get it. Ruth steered Anna to follow Carl. Walking behind them, Barb still... I can help Anna while you all work on the grass and the tire, Ruth said. She would be... Okay, why is my brain stopping? Okay, I'm wondering... Okay. All right, so I'm going to observe this so that we can keep reading without my brain throwing up its little... I feel like I'm in a parking garage and I'm coming out of the parking garage and the gate won't go up. Okay. That's basically that's what this is like for me. I read and then I try to ignore it because I'm like, I don't know what you're throwing a fit about. I don't get it. I think it's fine. And it just kind of like throws up. I feel like there's like a little bar that will not go up for me. Okay. So I'm starting to see now two things that it is pointing out to me. Isn't that the weirdest thing? It's like my brain is its own entity. Okay. So first it's pointing out the word grass. Okay. And I can't go any further till I acknowledge it. The next thing that it's pointing out to me is that we have used the word said as our dialogue tag. And I was like, okay, I wonder if we've used that recently and kind of in close proximity, because then it kind of reads tit for tat. Back and forth, ping pong, if we are not creative with our dialogue tags. We don't always have to have a dialogue tag. We can always have an action in place of one. So we have options, but I think that that's what happened there is my brain picked up on the fourth one and was like, nope, you're done. You need to stop and say something about this. Okay, so we've observed it and we're going to move on. I can help Anna while you work on the grass and the tire, Ruth said. She would be useless with the other tasks and could help the most in treating Anna's injuries. Barb took her backpack from the rear seat and left. Ruth sat Anna down and rinsed the blood off her wounds. She had identical spirals carved into each of her palms. How could a few grades of blast. Okay, I was really going to say grades of blast. Why? How can a few grass blades have accomplished that? All right, I'm going to read this paragraph again because I feel like I just kind of tripped over it. Barb took her backpack from the rear seat and left. Ruth sat Anna down and rinsed the blood off her wounds. She had identical spirals carved into each of her palms. How could a few grass blades have accomplished that? Are you sure it was the grass that cut you? Ruth asked. I'm wondering that too because they have like a shape. That's kind of weird. Like a pattern. Yes, it must have sharp edges. Maybe there was something on it. No, I only saw the grass. Now, I'm not telling you, I just want you to know, I'm not telling you to swap out all of these uses of grass. Obviously, we talked about this with trees and grass and we talked about it before. And I'm not, but I have to highlight it, one, so you can get a big view of how many times you do use it, and two, so that my brain will not keep dropping the bar down and not permitting me to continue. Let's see. But Anna had been emotional after the crash. So maybe she hadn't been paying attention. Okay, so we have two bins, too many bins. Bin. Okay. Let's read it as it is and then see if we even need to do anything about it. But Anna had been emotional after the crash. So maybe she hadn't been paying enough attention and hadn't seen what actually injured her. Even then, what could have cut two mirror image shapes into her skin? Carl reappeared at the open window and handed Ruth a zippered red case. Holler if you need me. Ruth opened the kit and selected a bottle of antiseptic solution, but before she could dab it onto the wounds, Anna groaned. Okay, Ladybug, I'm having a thought from the comments that you had said that this beta had told you, where I think they insulted Carl as a character, and like a couple, like they insulted Barb. They like were insulting your characters, and that's flashing up in my mind as I'm reading, and I'm thinking, something tells me all of these characters are not going to survive through this novel, okay? So if you don't have multiple characters to kill off, I mean, I'm not suggesting you do that, but I'm anticipating, each character has to have a purpose, right? They got to have a reason for existing. As long as you have a reason and a plan for them, then, that's what my brain went to. But anyway, okay. I'm just saying, I'm anticipating that I guess I was asking myself, why does she have all these characters? And I'm like, I mean, they seemed to work for me because I was thinking, a group working on a project that makes sense to me. So I didn't really question it. And then I was like, I mean, I figured you needed them to kill off later. I'm just saying. It sounds horrible, and I don't encourage that. I'll go on my don't kill off the main character rant on a different time because I am in the minority in that. And if you all want to hear me go off about that, that's a whole nother thing because it's a trend, and I'm going to stop myself right now because I'll get on a tangent about that. Okay. Let's see. Where were we? Ruth opened the kit and selected a bottle of antiseptic solution, but before she could dab it onto the wounds, Anna groaned. I can feel splinters of grass burrowing deeper into my hands, she said. It feels like 1,000 razor shards slicing into my flesh at the same time. Please make it stop. Okay, I'm going to say this. This sounds very calm to me. I'm getting calm. Even though what's happening does not lend itself to calm. So, Ruth opened the kit and selected a bottle of antiseptic solution, but before she could dab it onto the wounds, you could even say onto Anna's wounds, she groaned. The wounds feels a little bit for sterile, actually. Let's see, onto Anna's wounds. She groaned. I'm going to get you in nice and tight here. We're going to go for this and see what happens. We're going to keep going. I can feel splinters of grass burrowing deeper into my hands. Okay, you have got, she said. Now, here is a really great spot for you to show Anna starting to panic. Okay, she's uncomfortable. She's in pain. Is she moaning? You have a groan. You can moan and groan. Those two go together, okay? But if you don't want two OAN words, that's cool too. You could have her squirm, okay? She's in pain. Is she trying to keep her hand open? Are her fingers wanting to curl inward from the pain? So put yourself in the visual of the scene and pretend you're Anna and this is happening to you. What sensations go through you? What sensations are you wanting to convey that are going through Anna? How does Anna feel about this? All right, we're not looking for a long diatribe because we're now into an action scene. So the words are short and the sentences are short and tight, and we're having a moment, all right? And so the moment's going to be intense, and to keep it intense, we're going to be very stingy with our words, and our sentences are going to be a little bit shorter, and that's going to lend to the intensity that you were creating, all right? So what is happening to her is intense, all right? I can feel splinters of grass burrowing deeper into my hands. Right here, you can make that a period, okay? Oh, I want the markup version of this. Yeah, there we go. And then, actually, I'm going to fix it back the way it was because I don't want to be the one making an edit. I want to make suggestions, and I don't. Let's just fix that really quick. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Okay, I'm going to put it back the way it was, and then, well, it's not letting me. It's marking it like I did it. Okay, let me go back to editing mode. Make this a comma again. I just don't want to be the one making a finalized type of alteration of any sort to your document. Okay, so now I'm going to go to suggesting, and I'm going to suggest that this be a period. Now, right here, I think you give Anna, instead of the dialogue tag, give Anna an action, squirming, video has notes. Okay, so basically I've verbalized to you what I'm suggesting, why I'm suggesting it, and what is happening, and how this is going to help you build the intensity in the scene. It feels like 1,000 razor shards slicing into my flesh. We're going to keep our sentences short, and please make it stop is a little too chill. So at this point, if she's in pain, we don't tend to be super polite when we're in pain. I try to be, honestly. I'm very nice to nurses because they're taking care of us. So I try to be extra polite to them because we rely on them for help when we don't feel well. But this is, we kind of need to show intensity building here. We need her to be shocked. We need to be her squirmy, something. We need it. All right. So it feels like 1,000 razor shards slicing into my flesh. You know, she, I don't even know if you need to make it stop. Okay. I feel like her fingers would be curling inward as she's trying to get away from this pain. Like she'd be inclined to ball her hand into a fist to try to, or rub it, or squeeze it together or something like that, trying to stop the pain. Squirming would get this done for you. You can describe some of those actions, whichever ones appealed to you, but you have an opportunity. Keep this part kind of short to kind of show the squirm, all right? But then you have a chance to, you could even put a break here. You could omit this right here, or you could put a break here and then have her start squirming around and she could wail, make it stop, okay? You want to build the intensity of the awfulness of this. And so it's going to take some words to get that done, but you got to be careful which ones you choose to keep it nice, short, and tight, all right? I feel like you can do it because you're very concise, but we got to get a couple more things in there for that. All right. That sounded awful. Okay, so I got to remember that we're also with Ruth. So Anna is enduring this, and we're going to show Anna squirming. What I'm just going to say, we're going to show her pain. We're going to show Anna's pain. But Ruth is the one on the receiving end of it, okay? Or not the receiving. She's on the viewing end, okay? She's the observer here. And so, one, that pain is not hers, but two, she is listening to Anna moan and wail. And Ruth tends to be pretty calm. I think she's kind of timid and anxious, and she has fears and phobias. We're still learning what all of those are. And she also understands that she doesn't understand her fears and the source of them. She does not know that. So Ruth's personality is gentle to me. This is what I'm getting from her. She may be a calm person in a situation like this. We don't know. I mean, she's nervous. Does it really go? Would we expect her to be calm if she is a scared person? Maybe not. Maybe not. But is she a calm person when someone is injured? Because you can be a scared person, but when you're called to duty, when you're needed, you might rise to the occasion. She might be like that. I don't know. All right, so let's read it the way it is and then contemplate if it fits with the intensity of what Anna is feeling, okay? Because when I read what Anna is saying, when a person's in pain, that's intense. It's even intense for the people observing it. That sounded awful, but Ruth couldn't see any particles in the cuts. She found a bottle of ibuprofen tablets and gave Anna one. This will help. If it didn't, Ruth would give Anna another one. When Ruth applied the antiseptic, Anna shivered and squeezed her eyes shut. Can you tweeze out little pieces? Okay. So their interaction here does not belie itself to the level of pain described up here. I will say I'm a Girl Scout co-leader, and I had a bunch of 12-year-olds that were having a party, and they were running around my backyard barefoot and stepped on the hulls of black walnut seeds. And I don't know if you know, the outermost part is it's like covered in spines, and they stepped on them, and that involved stuff like this, okay? It very much came out kind of like this, but there was they were very, very dramatic because they were on the ones experiencing the pain, and I was very calm as I plucked each thorn out of their foot, and I'm talking like 10 to 20 thorns out of their feet. I was calm, all right? They were not. However, I was saying things to them, kind of like what Ruth did. This will help, or, this is why I told you to wear shoes, right? Okay, so let's see if we can compare. That sounded awful, but Ruth didn't see any particles in the cuts. I feel like Ruth was very chill here, and I'm not sure if she should be, or if I'm not sure. I feel like she should be more stressed. They've had a car accident. there's this insane grass that she's already apprehensive about walking in. They've got these crazy trees with weird fruit. The truck is damaged. Now Anna's injured, or not, yeah, Anna's injured, and Ruth is like, got to be feeling some stress and be overwhelmed. Does she have any? Okay, that sounded awful. I feel like, but she's rationalizing. That sounded awful, but Ruth couldn't see any particles in the cuts. She found a bottle of ibuprofen tablets and gave Anna one. This will help. If it didn't, Ruth would give her another one. When Ruth applied the antiseptic, Anna shivered and squeezed her eyes shut. Can you tweeze out the little pieces? Okay, so this part works for me. I guess we need to make sure we have balance between whatever happens up here and what's happening here. So maybe here, if you're picking the action of how Anna shows her pain, maybe she is trying to keep, like maybe her fingers tremble a little bit where she's trying to keep her hand open and still as Ruth looks at it. That way it fits the level of intensity that is happening further on. Okay, so well, let's see. We are going to get back down here. I took a brief little break. Let's see. So basically, whatever the action is and the intensity, we're trying to find a balance to it. We want our reader to feel it. We want them to feel a little bit of stress, okay, for what Anna's enduring. We know that something is happening. Things are already starting to get weird or getting weirder. And so we want to have whatever happens here kind of match Ruth's reaction or make sure that it's appropriate and realistic. And then we are coming down here. All right, so she's decided to pick out the little pieces. We're going to keep going. When Ruth applied the antiseptic, Anna shivered and squeezed her eyes shut. Can you tweeze out the little pieces? Ruth dabbed a folded gauze at the wounds. Folded gauze. I kind of want the word pad there. Or I either want it to be Ruth dabbed folded gauze or a folded gauze pad at the wounds and tried to peer into them, which wasn't easy since blood kept replenishing no matter how quickly she dried it. I don't see any pieces. They're there. I know they are. Get them out, please. They must have been... Okay, so I'm contemplating. If she's polite, she's polite. So don't listen to me up here, okay? Because like I said, I am nice to my nurses, so maybe she's trying... I'm trying to find the right level of intensity or the balance to it. And when I read it as it is, I did not feel any kind of... I did not feel like worried or stressed. It just seemed very matter of fact. Okay. But I felt that from the characters, but the words are telling me that there should be an intense sensation surrounding it. Okay. So the characters' reactions didn't match. So we need to find the balance of matching. I don't know if we need to pare this down, but this seems really painful to me. Okay, 1,000 razor shards slicing into my flesh, and so I was thinking intensity. That to me, that's where I picked up super intense, very painful. Okay, and then I just didn't get that when I read it as it is. So Ruth dabbed folded gauze at the wounds and tried to peer into them, which wasn't easy since blood kept replenishing no matter how quickly she dried it. I don't see any pieces. They're there. I know they are. Get them out, please. So again, you could have, I feel like you could show Anna here, like you could have this be two separate things, and in between it, suggest inserting action or visual of Anna in between these two sentences, okay, that kind of lend it to it. And let me explain. They're there. I know they are. Anna winced or hissed or flinched, or Anna tried not to close her hand as Barb looked at it. Get them out, please. Like she might even look away in pain. She might look to the sky or look over her shoulder at the ground, or just, you like turn your head away from this wound. She doesn't want to look at it anymore. Something like that. Give her Show us Anna and her pain, and let us be caught up in it with her. Okay? They must have been minute because Ruth noticed nothing. When she returned her gaze to Anna's face, her eyes had rolled up in their sockets. Only the whites showed, crisscrossed with irritated blood vessels under the surface. Was Anna having a convulsion? Was she allergic to ibuprofen? Or to a substance in the grass? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I can't. Ruth is just so innocent. She's just... What? Okay. I'm trying to be nice to Ruth, but I'm really frustrated with her right now. Okay. Seriously, Ruth! Seriously! Oh my God. If I look down at my friend and her eyes have rolled back in their head and I'm only seeing the whites and there is no logical explanation for that. If she was allergic, she'd be gasping for breath or grabbing at her throat or swelling in some place. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm trying to... All right. Is Ruth really this naive? Is she really? Is she really? Okay, because she could be. I mean, she could be. All right. I'm naive in some ways and not naive in others, and they're completely contradictory. I'm very complicated. But oh my goodness. Okay. So if she's for real this naive, keep it. If she's not, does Ruth panic? I mean, I know she threw up when she had the snake encounter and she ran away. All right. But is she feeling any stress in this situation? I'm inclined to say you know Ruth better than I do. So if this is how Ruth is, this is how Ruth is. But I'm also inclined to point out that this is a very stressful, intense situation. And for a scared person, okay, I'm kind of thinking she might be having a little bit of a more shocked reaction, a little more, oh my God, is she okay? All right. Even if she doesn't say that out loud, only the why. Okay. They must have been minute because Ruth noticed nothing. When she returned her gaze to Anna's face, her eyes had rolled up in her sockets. Okay. Right there is a spot to have the internal reaction. Oh my God. Only the whites were showing, crisscrossed with irritated blood vessels under the surface. Was Anna having a convulsion? Was she allergic to ibuprofen or something in the grass? Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Have her see how oh my God is really short. It's only 3 letters, and you can even repeat the sentence again and again, not 3 times, of course, but once or twice to have a build in the sensation inside of Ruth, okay? To show her intensity, her anxiety and intensity growing. See how I did that by adding just a couple things here and there? The way that I read it, it had more intensity. I mean, it right now it reads, they must have been minute because Ruth noticed nothing. When she returned her gaze to Anna's face, her eyes had rolled up in her sockets. Only the whites showed, crisscrossed with irritated blood vessels under the surface. Was Anna having a convulsion? Was she allergic to ibuprofen or a substance in the grass? Something twitched in Ruth's stomach. The sensation she had at first experienced on the drive from Sparkling Lake returned, only stronger. Anna? No response. Anna, can you hear me? This is very calm for what is happening. Someone's got some weird cuts on their hands. We're in this scary place. There's been and there's just all these things surrounding me that tell me I'm going to be freaking out a little bit at this point, okay? I'm going to be a little bit stressed out and intense, but that is me. I have to accept that this is Ruth. And at this point, I am very frustrated with Ruth. I want to be like, woman, girl, are you serious right now? Get out of my way. What the hell is going on with Anna? And I feel like almost shaking Anna or being, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So, okay. And look, our chapter has ended. Okay. So you're leaving it off in a great place, but I'm frustrated with Ruth. for her lack of oomph. All right. If that is true to her, because I don't know her as well as you do, if that's true to her, then you stay your course, okay? If that's it. But if you feel like you want more drama and more intensity to this, there is where you need it, and that is how you get it. And if you need any help with that, or you need me to elaborate or give more examples or do anything like that, just let me know. But hopefully my musings will help there if that is what you want. All right. So see, you know where you're going and what you're trying to accomplish and what you were going for. And so you are going to know what I don't because you have information I don't. So that is where we stand. It reads pretty clean. I just emotionally had some frustration there. And other than that, I am like, what is happening? And again, it's funny that I'm used characters to kill off because it's not looking good for Anna right now, okay? It is not. And in regards to the beta reader that said all those things, I still want to turn the page, okay? I'm still interested. I still want to know what happens next. I kind of felt little tidbits along the way in the first couple of chapters, kind of setting me up for my story, baiting me to keep turning the page to finding out the answers to my questions. It's easy to read. There's a lot of things to like about this, okay? I don't know who your target audience is. I don't know how graphic this gets, but I mean, it's easy to read. You're clear and concise, and you write pretty clean. It's just, there's a lot of things that I like about this. If I wanted to pick up an interesting little journey that I don't know where we're going yet. Okay, I'm calling it a little journey because I don't know where we're headed. Okay, I don't know, but I want to know, and so I'm still turning the page. I'm not lying to you. I'm still turning the page. I want to know what happens next. Now I want to know what happens to Anna. All right, and I want to know if Ruth is really this chill and a little bit just unusually chill. I mean, is Ruth on the spectrum? I'm kind of wondering, because if she was like on the spectrum, she might have a reaction, or her responses might be different because she could be neurodivergent. And then sometimes when we don't react the way every society would expect. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think she is, but she could be, and that would explain some things. But if she was, we need to know that a lot sooner. So anyway, just all that is reader thought, okay? And I'm still into this. I'm hoping you send me chapter 14. We will talk soon. Guys, I will see you next time on Mystery Ed Reads.